Hi everybody, in this video we're going to learn how to fine-tune our sprite collision detection by adjusting the colliders of the sprites. So again, we have these same four sprites, the blob, the man, the rectangle, and the fire, and you see when they collide, they're actually pretty far away from each other. There's a space between the edge of the blob and the man, and there's a white space between the edge of the man and the edge of the sprite. And same with the fire. I can't get close to the fire when I touch it, and I can't get close to the rectangle before the words pop up. It's detected right there. So we're going to close the space between the sprites by adjusting the collider. So what's a collider? A collider is the outline of the sprite. So for this dancing man, the outline is where the edge of the white is, the edge of that white rectangle. And there's an invisible edge around this blob sprite, and there's an invisible edge around this fire sprite. So we need to shrink that. So let's look at the code and see how we can do that. So I'm not going to go over these sections again because over the previous videos it's exactly the same. I just took some stuff out. Global variables, the sprites, loading the animations in the preload function. In the setup function, I'm creating the sprites, and this is where the difference is when I'm creating the sprites. I'm going to add a setCollider method for each sprite. So let's take a look at it here. So for the sprite man, so setCollider method accepts 5 arguments: the shape, rectangle or circular, the X offset and Y offset from the middle of the sprite. By default, it's the middle. So if you want to still measure things from the middle of the sprite, you can just use 0. But if your sprite is like lopsided, like off to one side of the image, then you can adjust how much left or right or up and down you want that to be. And you can set the width and the height of the collider. So right now the sprite size of the man is 100 pixels wide by 100 pixels high, but that's why there's that white space. This man is a lot thinner than 100 pixels wide and not quite 100 pixels high. So I have set it to 60 pixels wide and 100 pixels high. Okay, so that's how we're changing the setCollider for the sprite man. And I'm going to do it for the rest of the sprites here. So for the blob, if you're just using a circle, it will have 4 arguments: the shape, which is a circle, the X and Y offset, which is from the middle of the sprite. So I'm just leaving those at 0. And the radius of a circle, right? The radius of the circle is the distance between the middle of the circle to the end of the circle. So I'm setting that to 30 because that sprite is 100 pixels wide and 100 pixels high. So that will take away some of the outside space. Anything outside of a radius in 30 will not be detected in the collision. The fire sprite, so I'm going to add a setCollider for the fire sprite. So sprite_fire.setCollider, I'm setting that to a rectangle. I'm shifting it over left 5 pixels. I'm decreasing X by 5. The Y value will still be in the middle of the sprite, and the width will be 40, and the height will be 50 because the fire is higher than it is wider. The blue box I'm leaving the same. So let's just see how that works. You can see now that the sprites can get much closer before the words show that they are detected, right? I can crawl up to the rectangle, I can crawl up to the man, I can crawl up to the fire before the collisions are detected. So that's how you can fine-tune collisions